No, we're up on one of my favorite bodies of water, Leech Lake here in northern Minnesota. And when you look at big lakes, especially Minnesota right now, Leech Lake's probably had some of the best walleye fishing in the last few years. And neat thing about this is you look at Leech Lake, look at a map of Leech Lake, it's almost like there's several different lakes, several different bays that each have their own personality. So you find a lot of different patterns. But the thing that I love about Leech Lake is shallow fish and jig fish. It's a jig fisherman's dream out here, casting the weeds, casting the shallow flats, the sand flats. And it's fall, these fish are starting to move up shallow. Wonderful time of year to be a walleye fisherman. These fish have moved up into the shallow water, and when we first got out here it was like glass. There wasn't a breath of wind. Now we've got a little bit of breeze developing, but what I love about shallow cabbage in particular is you get the lightest ripple when things are really flat and calm, and it's almost like that cabbage will stain the water. You can almost imagine that those broad leaves on those cabbage plants, there's debris that sticks to it, and even like boat wakes will just get a little bit of cloud in the water. And with shallow fish, especially calm conditions, cabbage is a great target.
There's a trough through here, and it goes into a 10-foot hole over there. We're going to run the edge of the cabbage, which is going to be right around 7 feet. And we'll be pitching the jigs up into the cabbage and then dragging them back out. The fish should be in the cabbage or right along the edge.
Nice way to start.
Good one, Jace?
Right on the edge of those weeds
boy,
there.
Good show.
Good eater.
Yeah,
that'd be
nice
a perfect.
one.
That'd be a perfect fish for the fillet board. I'm just gonna. We're not gonna fillet fish today, but yeah, that's a nice way to start. It's nice to see. You know, there's lots of places where you get lots
Healthy.
of overs.
Yeah.
But see bodies of water where you can still have a fish dinner at the end of the day too.
Well, Jace, that's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice eating fish.
Yeah, you know what I love about weed fish is I don't think weed fish go anywhere. You know, it's not like they're going to slide out and swim out in 20 feet of water. They just quit moving. They just bury themselves, and so sometimes it requires some patience. You just got to wait out those windows where they slide up and down in those weeds and eat, but they're here the whole time.
That's for sure. I like the fact that we're not being pressured by a lot of people.
Yeah, well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
There's a fish.
Okay.
Another eater.
Another eater.
Put him in the box, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Lift
He's
him
a
in.
little bit smaller.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, I'd eat that one too.
Well, there was some fish there.
That's
anyhow.
impressive, because a lot of times when you get a lot of fish that are over the slot, it's almost impossible to find a fish to eat. I love Leech Lake because it's just such a wide variety of patterns. You can catch fish a lot of different ways, but most of all, there's just a lot of walleyes in Leech Lake. And let's face it, you can't catch fish if they don't exist. So when you look at especially the big lakes in Minnesota right now, Leech Lake had some of the best fishing in the last 5-6 years. And you know, you can catch numbers of fish, you can catch fish to eat, and you can catch big fish. So there's a lot of nice slot fish. You can just cut up your hands catching walleyes. That's what I love about Leech Lake.
Well, we're in that same category again, Jace.
Yeah, here, let me get out of the net here for you. All right. Yeah, good eater. Good eater. Nice, Al. Boy, that fish swallowed it too.
Yeah, he sucked it in, hit it hard way.
That jig punched it, huh? Boy, that fish nailed it, huh?
Yeah, he poked it.
Well, that's nice to see. You know, so many bodies of water where you have slot limits, you have a lot of overs, a lot of big fish. Sometimes it's hard to find those fish that are small enough to eat.
Yeah, that's a fact, and people are happy to see that.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, we
nice
haven't
to
had
see these year classes.
Yeah, all kinds of different classes in here right now.
We're just basically just pitching these 16th ounce jigs, just a stand-up jig, Northland stand-up fireball jig to be exact. And we're just pitching them up probably in about 5 feet of water. We're keeping the boat in 8 feet of water. There's a fish right there. And the big thing is just letting that jig tickle the weeds. You know, you feel that weed, you feel that jig bog down on that vegetation, and you just give it a pop, give it a snap free. Just let that minnow glide along the weeds. There we go.
I tried to knock it off for you there.
Yeah, these fish are just laying in that cabbage. Yeah, great. All right, yeah, great.
Nice
great.
fish.
Good. Whoa, even got my minnow back. Just using about a 3-inch rainbow. We tried some bigger minnows right away, but
They like that smaller one.
yeah, just a great way to spend a fall day. Beautiful day, beautiful fish. You know, it's amazing, Al. You look at, you know, obviously Mille Lacs has been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons, but it wasn't that long ago when they were calling Leech Lake the Dead Sea. And look at how Leech Lake has come back. Some of the best fishing in the state.
Exactly right. Ooh.
Good fish.
This might be the other color. Boy, that pile of those has got to
Yeah.
be something in there, isn't that quality?
Yeah, that's good eating fish right there. Good to see those.
Well, it's too bad, Jace, we got interrupted by a fish there. So, to continue from where we were at, you were right. The lake did bust.
What years was that when things were so tough out here?
Oh, I got to think back.
10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, it's been 10, I'm sure now.
All that.
When it busted, they put together a task force to get after that, and got a hold of the governor and the DNR, and of course we had to start with restocking, and we did that part of it. Then we checked to see what was going on. Natural reproduction matching this, they did the diet routine. And over the years, by stocking and putting the restrictions on, it bounced back really good. Of course, during that time we had the cormorant problem also. There were so many birds out here. You know, I was out fishing muskies quite often, and there would be 15,000 birds sitting in the water ahead of us. And you know, they're eating a lot. So you take all of the factors together, and the fish supply really went down quick. But the restoration of the lake is fantastic. You've got fish now every class.
There's a fish.
Got him?
Yep. Right off the edge of that cabbage. Yeah. Right off that break.
That's a little better, huh? Staying deep. Nice one. Yeah. Pretty with that sun.
They are.
Beautiful.
They are. Yeah, they're just ducked down in
beautiful
those.
fish. Yep.
Ducked down in those pockets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good boy, Jace.
Great fish. Get her out of the net here.
Gonna make me go back to that fire tiger, aren't you?
Yeah, that's a good color on this lake. Just that fire tiger or parrot. You can't really go wrong on Leech Lake. We're just being patient in here in the sense that you can see how flat it is now. We've just completely lost our wind, but you just see little puffs of wind, and you just get windows where these fish will bite, where you get probably maybe 80% of your fish in that 20% of time. We get that little bit of breeze or chop, and the rest of the time it's a grind. But you know, at least you know when the wind goes flat, you know where to hunker down. And so we're just hunkering down in spots where we know there's some pods of fish that are buried in these weeds. They're not going to go anywhere when the wind quits. But as soon as that wind starts to blow a little bit, it just turns on like a light switch. And so sometimes you just have to be patient. And we're just using a 6'2" medium fast action rod in our lineup in the Jason Mitchell Walleye series, and basically just want a fast tip, and boy, I tell you what, I'm real partial to monofilament still, even with this type of jig fishing where you just want to let that jig slide and glide and then tick the weeds and then pop up and glide. And that glide is crucial. You got to have the right weight jig, right line, and monofilament just seems to float through the water nice, but you just need that fast tip because you are using mono. You know, you get that little bit of a tick or a little bit of a thump where you can just rear back and not only set the hook, but lift that fish up out of the weeds. You don't want to let them wrap up in these cabbage stalks with 6-pound mono. Better fish. Oh yeah. Fish is staying down nice.
Yeah, it is.
Keep them out of those weeds.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Scrapper.
Yeah.
Bring them up. Come on. There you go. Oh,
Nice
yeah,
job,
there.
nice job.
Look at that. Great fish.
There you go.
Great fish. Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful
Good
fish,
job,
huh?
Jace.
Right in the corner of the mouth. All these fish are right in the exact same spot today. They're just right on the bottom where that cabbage gets thin, right in that shade, right in that wall. Great fish.
Beautiful.
You know, you look at cabbage, it just provides a real nice canopy. Usually you're gonna find it on a sandy bottom. And the thing about weed bed fish is that the structure, the deep water that's around the weeds can be really subtle. In this case, we might find 10 feet of water, 8 feet of water behind us, and it drops up. There's just a little bit of a trough where it comes up to say 6 feet, 5 feet, and that cabbage is growing out to about 7, 8 feet, where you'll see it ending on the depth finder in about 8 feet of water. You know, you'll see places where the cabbage reaches the surface, and a lot of times where you see that tall cabbage where it butts up to just that short junk weed, or those little troughs where there's openings where the weeds quit. A lot of times that's where you're going to find those walleyes. They're going to be just roaming up and down through those slots. You know, the thing about it is when you have green cabbage like what we have here and good growth where big areas, chances are there's going to be walleyes around. And they're going to be around most of the
Fish
season.
on.
Got them? All right.
It's a nice fish, probably.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Water's nice and clear too. It's amazing. You can probably see down 3 or 4 feet of water. We catch them in 8 feet. They're laying in here all day long. You know, it's that old adage of fish sliding deeper than sliding shallow during low light. I don't think that's the case with these fish. They're here the whole time. They just get active and turn on and off. You know, you can take good cabbage on Leech Lake here. And there's walleyes that are living in here year round. So this is something you can do all summer long. But what we're doing right now, you know, focusing on these breaks, it works really well in the springtime. Now in the springtime, these weeds haven't developed yet, and so you're just looking at shorter weeds, and in some ways they're a lot easier to fish, especially if you know they're there. But come fall, if you still have good solid weeds where they've got nice vibrant green color to them, those green weeds will hold fish well into the fall. So this really shines in the spring and in the fall, but don't overlook it all summer.
I think that looks pretty fair, Jay. That's got a bend in your rod, you know. We may have that muskie.
Yeah, we saw a couple of muskies in here so far. Oh yeah, it is a muskie.
Is it?
Yep.
Good. Okay, we're gonna have fun here.
I always joke that there's probably more muskies caught on a live bait rig than a bucktail.
Ooh, he's still going. That's just beautiful.
That's a special freshwater fishing experience right there. And you're just seeing them in the water. It's almost just magical.
Look at that shot right there.
Isn't that
boy.
cool? Isn't that cool? Isn't that beautiful? You think of Leech Lake too. I mean, it's long been a great multi-species body of water. I mean, this is just a phenomenal fishery in its own right when you just look at the muskies and you look at the largemouth bass, panfish. As you look at the best walleye water, some of the best panfish lakes, they all have big predators. Biologically, good muskies are part of almost every great walleye lake you see.
Oh, there he is. Come back up the other side.
Yeah, he's
not.
wrapped up a couple times.
Is he really?
We're gonna have to go with the way he is. All right. Yeah, don't lift him out of the water there.
We're just gotta get over so you don't.
All right. All right. That was way easier than I thought this was
Yes,
gonna be.
it was.
Way easier. Oh, isn't this a beautiful critter? Look at that.
Pretty good. There.
We'll show this fish off here quick. There.
Wow.
Look at that right there. That is a great interruption to a great day of walleye fishing here on Leech Lake. Look at that fish in the water here quick. What an incredible fishing experience, huh?
You got that right, buddy.
Man.
Good job.
I wish anybody could experience something like that. That's why catch and release is so important.
Oh,
in these
no
fish.
lie. Not
Enjoy
a blemish on that fish.
Oh, beautiful fish. Take care of them, let them go, and somebody else can catch them.
Yeah.
Probably when he's 3 inches longer, but probably never been a better time to fish for muskies than right now.
Well, you did a good job playing it. I'll give you credit. I thought she was going to go ballistic.
I
You
couldn't
did
believe
well.
it got into that net that easy. Better be
That
lucky
worked
than
out
good
great.
some days, and that wasn't luck because a lot
Good
of times
job.
they pop off. That just took a little luck is all. Awesome. From our base camp in Devils Lake, North Dakota, we travel the whole Midwest looking for the best fishing bites. If you like real-time fish reports, find out what bodies of water that we're fishing just to find the general patterns and techniques that we're using, give us a like on Facebook and hit the road with Jason Mitchell Outdoors. You know, Leech Lake is still one of those traditional classic Northwoods fishing experiences in the sense that it's still a vacation destination. When you look at the community of Walker, there's a lot of things for the entire family to do. It's a lake that still has a lot of family resorts. That's what makes Leech Lake so neat, is it's a place you can take your whole family to. It's a place you can fish your haul out for the whole week and experience tremendous fishing. But you look at so many different fisheries, so many different destinations, that family resort's almost a thing of the past. Leech Lake is one of the few places left where you can go up and get that classic Northwoods vacation experience, and best off, you can do that and experience a lot of great fishing. Oh yeah, look at there.
Nice fish.
Look at that. Beautiful color. Great fish.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks,
nice,
Al.
nice.
Here, we'll get that fish out of the net here.
Dandy.
Yeah. That's a great walleye. Boy, some of these fish, when they hit it, it's just a boom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love that. That is as good of fishing as it gets. 6-pound test and a jig and a minnow, shallow water walleyes. And that's the jig that's doing all the damage right there. It's just a phenomenal presentation, just that little stand-up. And why the stand-up is when you hit the cabbage and even this car and this junkweed that's on the bottom, is that minnow is standing up, and it's standing up out of those weeds where the fish can see it. I think that's why the stand-up jig works so well. And the other thing is when it hits the weeds and you pop it, you can almost roll that jig off the weeds, where if you can imagine with a traditional lead-headed jig, you've got more jig in front of the eye where your knot is, and so it hangs up. It's a spot where weeds can collect. Whereas that narrower design, the weeds can slide off it a lot better. So in my opinion, that stand-up jig is where it's at.
Yeah, it's a fish.
Yeah, good fish, all right. You know, I met Al Maas, oh goodness, probably 15 years ago or maybe more. And you know, just a gentleman. And you know, you look at guides in Minnesota, you know, the people that really paved the way, you know, Al Maas is one of them. I remember as a kid growing up, you know, Al Maas was one of the few people back then that was guiding every day. You know, anybody can call himself a guide, but it takes a whole different type of individual that can actually guide for 120, 130, 140 days each summer and have that many people that want to fish with him. And so, you know, he's got the knowledge. You know, he's seen everything that's ever happened on Leech Lake, but on top of that, he's just such a gentleman to be around, and just a true joy, a pleasure to fish with. And I remember being a guide myself, he was a person I looked up to, and when I got into television, was able to fish with other guides, it's just an honor to share a boat with him, because not only his knowledge, his history, but you know, the fact that he's just a class act human being. You're not going to find a better guide or a better fisherman or a better man than Al Maas. Yeah. Nice work, Al.
We'll take him.
No, and you know, there's a lot of different ways to fish out here. You can fish shallow, deep, but you know, probably the big thing to stress is even if you don't have the wind, you can still put some of these weed patterns together. When we first got out here, there was hardly any wind, or just by fishing fairly patiently, fishing methodically, keying in on some key locations, we were able to pick away at fish, and just we were able to capitalize on some flurries. That wind came up, and then we were able to get a little bit more aggressive. We made longer drifts, and you know, basically covered more areas, and we hit some hot pods of fish that were moving. And when you find them in this wind, I mean, they find you. Yeah, incredible lake, incredible lake. A lot of different ways to catch a fish.
No doubt about it.
And there's a lot of fish. Thanks so much, Al. It's always a pleasure.
Good day.
Absolutely.
Jay, it's always
another great day on Leech Lake.
Always fun to fish with you.
Absolutely.